Good morning. Next news. Expert reveals exact date to expect empty shelves in stores. Men's Journal. Since the implementation of new U.S. tariffs, shipments of products and goods from China to the U.S. have significantly dropped, and major U.S. retailers have been sending out warnings about supply shortages to come. But, so far, stores have been pretty well stocked. So, when should customers? Below are your comments. The new manufacturing jobs that will be created in America are going to be high-tech, high-required types of jobs like chip manufacturing or patented drug-making types of jobs. These aren't the labor-intensive jobs that MAGAs are qualified to do anyway. The old-fashioned factory work will not come back to the U.S. The tariffs are already having negative effects. I have 2 clients who had to pay large import bills for goods they ordered before the tariffs but didn't arrive until after. Luckily, they could afford it. Many small businesses can't and are going out of business because they can't pay the tariffs for goods they ordered. There's a myth that it was just large corporations shipping jobs overseas to make large profits even larger. But in reality, we benefit from cheap stuff and can use that money for other things. And it's small businesses that drive America, and they also rely on imported goods. And the real issue is that there are far-righties who used NAFTA to trick people into thinking the lights were the problem and we could all turn back the clock to the 50s if we elected their candidate. But it was always a lie. We need more bleep workers, not a time machine to the past. What people here can't seem to grasp when they say stuff like my gas and groceries don't come from China is that they don't, but the bearings that machinery in food processing facilities use do come from there. The seals that pumps use for all kinds of industries like food production and including your gas pump. PS and all the way back to the refinery also come from there. Truck parts that keep trucks running from warehouses to your local stores also come from there. There are many, many more products and parts that are necessary for domestic producers to produce. And EY aren't made in the USA. I think these people are going to wake up here in a. The sad thing is the severely brainwashed will keep chugging the Trump Kool-Aid and spouting denial, even as it affects them. Inexcusable self-inflicted wound by the Trump administration. Nothing good can come from holding the line on these tariffs. It would take years to build plants in the U.S. and costs would send prices of goods soaring when so many are trying to make ends meet. Hard to think of a more direct way to bring the economy to its knees. I work at a food bank as a volunteer. We are seeing lots of new people. My neighbor down the street, the most pro-Trump, was in the food bank last week. Trump said, "Tariffs are a beautiful thing." Just earlier in the week, the Trump was bragging about how much tariffs money he had made. Trump said, "Well, they did sign up for it, actually. 0. And this is what I campaigned on. I shopped at Walmart yesterday. Prices up a little more again this week. Shelves have starting to empty. There is not as much stock as 3 months ago. Trump's slump has only just started, folks." Q1 GDP was officially negative. Only one more quarter of contraction, 100% chance now, and recession will be made official. GDP is going to be negative for the rest of the year, while unemployment and inflation absolutely rocket. And all of this is the result of our stable genius Orange King and his cult of billionaire oligarchs and high school dropouts. April just had its worst month in the financial markets since the Great Depression too. It's all downhill from here. So much winning. MAGA derp clown face person shrugging thumbs up. The latest joke from the administration that's also a joke, the Donald posse has gone from calling T. Trump recession a reset to now calling it a Biden overhang, which sounds like some sort of patty o cover. Once you shut down, it takes a long time to get economic activity back to where it was, if you ever can. Donald Trump does not know what he is doing. Congress ought to have did their charge of checks and balances by now. Impeachment and removal of Agent Krasnov as president. Otherwise things look bleak for us ordinary non-billionaire consumers. Yet millions of Americans yet support Donald Trump. Money to bet, it will be the MAGA types. Except for the millionaires and billionaires. Who will suffer the most? Lots of small businesses will be shuttered, never to reopen again like what happened in the recession of 2007-08. I'm no economist, but I imagine American consumers will be okay with less than full shelves for a significant amount of time. The vast majority of our food is produced domestically. There will be some sacrifice of comfort wants in the meantime. Where this will really hurt is employment. Fewer discretionary goods means fewer retail jobs. This topples the first domino and it's off to the races to a recession. Trump a few months from now, the tariffs are Biden's fault. The Democrats made me do it. I wouldn't have had to do this if I didn't get the Democrats' economy. Edit. Grammar. It's very easy to predict when the shelves will be empty. Just publish any random date and people will panic buy until the stores are empty. They shouldn't show food shelves. Some stuff is imported, but most of our food doesn't involve cheaper parts from other countries, lol. Some fruits and veggies, maybe? A few other things like maple syrup. Although I think most of our meatpacking companies are foreign-owned, which is a bit scary. Because of lack of competition, expect us goods to become more expensive. Empty shelves will remind me of the last time Trump was president. The start of the planned decline. Recession, unemployment, lower wages, cheaper production is the theory, I suppose. Just like trickle down, it won't work but it will benefit the 1%. More winning, but for whom? No supplies in the store. No more jobs. It is time to lay off workers. When I was born, companies would never make stuff overseas or in Mexico. They recognized their responsibility to provide jobs for their fellow Americans. My aunt worked in a Western electric factory that made 6 million telephones a year. But now CEOs are just greedy and selfish as they kick American workers to the curb chasing low wage foreign workers just to enrich their paychecks. Think I'm wrong? Folks are going to get skittish and start hoarding toilet paper and baby food. The COVID craziness wasn't that long ago and people are going to remember that. And not get caught off guard again. I've already grabbed an extra roll, or two. All due to the policy of someone that bankrupted 3 casinos, which is almost impossible to do. Please wait a moment. Basically more bad news. More layoffs coming in trucking and warehouse workers. Thanks Trump. One big advantage Xi has over Trump is that he can control the media in his country. Trump is in hand he cannot. Trump has overplayed his cards because he doesn't have any. China doesn't feed us. Where I live we have very nice farmers markets. What will not be on shelves is junk that clutters homes and keeps storage companies happy. I won't miss that stuff. So around May 10th is when Trump will fold and remove the tariffs, and so since it took 1 month with an announcement and effect of tariffs, it will take 1 month again for new supplies to start arriving. In stores after Trump faces the music of his weak hand and removes the. So basically stock up about a month's worth of supplies. Got it. 50% of all consumer spending is completed by households making $250,000, which is the top 10% of U.S. income levels. Most everyday household goods are produced in the U.S. 90% of staple food and drink, mattress, air conditioners are produced in the US. On the flip side, 80 to 90% of all toys, cosmetics, clothes, and blankets are imported in. 99% of all telephones and televisions are imported in. Lawn mowers, vehicles, and fish gear are roughly 50 to 50. Just the fact of how freaked out everyone is getting should be a clear indication that we are in awe. They've been way too dependent on foreign sources for daily requirements. This should have been fixed a long time ago, and the longer it goes on the worse it will be. It's likely that this will be unpleasant for a while, but it still needs to be sorted out eventually. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.